have a surgical procedure, and when you have the non-surgical procedure, when you're having the human being, you call it embryo, fetus, whatever it is, as a human being, when you have the human being extracted from you in that capacity, that's murder. When you have the human being's parent extracted from their life, that's a spiritual murder that you're doing, because now this child has to walk around and be traumatized as a result of what you have done. We provided nothing for returning our brothers returning home from prison. Nothing. They're coming home to nothing but conversation. The same conversation that they left when they went upstate. They're coming home to the same conversation. You still talking about what you're going to do. There's nothing for our youth. Nothing. No recreation centers. Hell, Joe Frazier's gym is a damn value store. You tell me why such a historic place, right, that represented so much for so many years, is a value store. That should be a place where our young folks be going there and resolving their conflicts.
Good evening and welcome to The Wise View. I'm your host as always, Sabir Aleem. What a wonderful, well, I don't know what y'all were doing up in Philly. Well, I know it was cold, but it's been a wonderful day there, right? It's, right now it's about, I guess, in the 70s, probably about 73, 74 degrees. And tomorrow is expected to be up in the 80s as well. So it's been a great day, needless to say, weather-wise, and I'm enjoying the sun. Today is Tuesday. I just did a show yesterday, did Side Spot yesterday, because gave everybody a break for the holiday, because I knew everybody would be, you know, more indulged in unwrapping gifts, wrapping gifts, spending time with family, all the things that come along with, you know, the celebration of the Christmas holiday. But I wanted to make sure that I did the show yesterday, because it's important that I continue to do these shows to be consistent, because consistency is real important. You know, a lot of times you see people start things and it fizzles out after a while. I don't know what happens. I don't know whether the enthusiasm of doing it wore off, whether they've gotten tired, old, or whatever the case is. But one of the things that I know about myself is that I haven't slowed down yet. I haven't slowed down. I don't feel myself tiring. And don't get me wrong, sometimes it's really frustrating. Sometimes it's really frustrating when you're trying to deliver information to people who continuously reject that information unless they saw it on the news or unless they saw it on the internet, in terms of it was somebody other than you or me. but let it wind up on Fox News, and everybody's on it. And everybody is spending their lives and living their lives according to what they found on the internet, what they heard in the news. There were some recent incidents that took place, and everybody's beginning to question if it even happened. Well, you should have been questioning what happened all along in a whole lot of scenarios. Who's really behind all of these things for real? And how much is this stuff really happening? We're so gullible that we'll turn on the news and we'll say, hey, that really happened. Wow, that's crazy. Right? And we know that if you give people 10% of reality, the other 90%, right, can be totally false. But people see snippets, fleeting glimpses of reality and get right in line and believe that this is the truth. It couldn't be further from the truth in most cases. We saw a recent assassination, and there's been all kind of rhetoric spoken about that. The whole scene just doesn't look right at all. What was reported, the crime scene itself, all of those folks who were shot, photographed, what I mean by shoot, in that area, the video, everything, none of it looks real. It looks like something that was done right on a stage set. And the reality of it is, there's a lot of that going around, and it's been going on for a long, long time. A long time. So to expect anything other than from the news, right, would be insane. Because they would never tell you the truth. It's always about a sensational story. Right? That's what it's all about. To turn on the television and hear special interest stories throughout the whole newscast is something that you'll never hear. Because we have become conditioned to believe that news, right, news is negative. It's negative. Anytime you see a special interest story, it's probably about a 2.5, 3-minute piece, and that's it. The other 97 minutes, 67 minutes, whatever the show is just negative. It's dividing people. It's teaching people the pros and cons of situations based on how society wants you to see pros and cons of things. That's how it's actually set up. It's not designed for you to really better yourself. It's not designed that way. It's designed to continue to show you how to be divided as a people. It's designed to, to get you to come to the store and buy their products. That's all it's for. So what happened is we began to look and we began to see everything as reality, just based off of a few little things. And we need to change that. But we also have to look at consistency in terms of people who are in office. People who are in political offices. People who sit on boards. Chairman of chairmen. House of Representatives, the Senate, Congress, all of these people. We have to look at all these people. These people have been in place for a long time. Whether they're Republican, Democratic, Tea Party, Green Party, Let's Go Party, whatever it is, it really doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, some of these people have been there for so long that they've been there before the furniture was even there. They're older than some of the furniture there, some of these folks. So to expect any kind of change in government is insane. Why would there be any change? You got the same people there. Those new folks who are coming along, who are newly voted in, they need to stand in line. This is a good old boys club. So if you want to be part of this good old boys club, you need to go along to get along, and you need to get in where you can fit in, and where you can't fit in, you need to just stand next to, so that way if an opportunity creates itself for you to get into that spot, then you'll get into that spot maybe. But in the meantime, just do as we do. Just do as we say. And you'll be okay. And you can stay in office for a real long time. And we've seen that. Repeatedly. And you know, it's this big thing now that, you know, President Barack Obama is nearing the end of his term, so now all the criticisms begin to come out. You know, on all sides. But especially, again, once again, from the black community. What kind of legacy did he leave behind? And he didn't really do much of anything for blacks in America. And, you know, he could have changed this and he could have changed that. And, well, I'm sorry, but we don't live in black America. We live in the United States of America. Therefore, everybody has to be included in whatever decisions that are made regarding the United States, regardless of what color somebody is. We've had this same dialogue over and over again, and you know, it really becomes like, are you thinking about what you're saying, or are you just running your mouth? Just think about it for a minute. So you lay those kind of claims upon a president, right, who's not black, that they're being biased, right, to people of color, right, and that they're allowing, you know, whites to benefit from the land of the plenty, the land of milk and honey, right? Now, so you laid that claim against them. Now you get a black president in office, and in essence, you're saying the same thing about him. You just ain't came out and said that. What you have said, though, is that he has not fulfilled his agreement, his obligation to blacks in America. That's what in essence you're saying. So if he didn't benefit blacks in America, if he didn't benefit people of color, then what does that say? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Right? I don't know what it was that he was expected to do. I didn't expect him to do anything. Just the mere fact that this was a black man who was able to reach a position in government that most, if not all, of us thought we'd never ever see. That in itself should be commendable, but that's not enough. Hence the reason why when we look in our communities and we see, you know, what some of our folks have achieved, we don't give them credit for that because, you know, we want to tell them that they can do more. Well, if I'm not selling drugs anymore, I am working a job. Why does everything about me have to be more? So you're never satisfied. We always have a complaint about something. And again, I'm not the sharpest pencil in the box, especially when it comes to politics, but I'm no fool either. I'm no fool either. There are limitations that any president has. Right? There's still a process that every president has, but I keep saying this over and over again. He is the President of the United States of America, which includes every human being who is a citizen of this country. Period. We don't want to be perceived in any office that we fulfill that's supposed to represent all people as being one who is biased to any one particular group. We don't want that. We don't want that upon us. I know I don't want it. I don't want to be seen as a black program director. I don't want to be seen as the Muslim program director. I don't want to be seen as that. I want to be seen as a program director. I don't want to be seen as the president and founder of an organization that only represents black fathers. I don't want to be seen as a faith-based organization because I practice a particular religion. That says, it's nothing in my mission statement that says anything about that. I'm a human being. I'm a father. I'm a person who is concerned about the well-being of fathers, their families, their children, service providers, all of that. That's what I represent. Is it necessary for me to put my picture, you know, up next to my logo so you can see that I'm black, to see that this is a black-owned business? No, I don't have to promote myself as that. Can I put my information into a directory that yes? But do I advertise myself as being such? No, none of us want to be painted in that light, but yet we still continue to paint others in that light that we want them to be in. We want them to be in that light. Therefore, we paint them into that picture. And then when they don't meet our expectations based on that picture that we painted for them, then it's like it's hell to pay. Then we have to worry about being criticized and condemned, and for what? Simply because I didn't meet your need. That's always going to be like-minded people who band together and say, well, he should have done this, and he should have done that, and he should have talked about this, and he should have talked about that, because after all, he's the President of the United States. He always has the mic. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. There's a responsibility that that position has. Period. And we don't look at the responsibility that that person has to that particular office, whether it be President of the United States, whether it be state representative, whether it be councilman at large, whatever the position is. There's a responsibility that a person has to that office. And if you don't know what your responsibilities are, which is clearly defined for them as President of the United States of America, just like you have a job description. And there are things that you are expected to do. There are specific skills that you're expected to have. There's a specific knowledge base that you're expected to have. There's a code of conduct that you're supposed to adhere to. Just like any other workplace environment, it is a job. And you don't go in your job and do as you damn well please outside of policy and procedures and think that you're going to keep your job. It's one thing to violate those policies, unknowingly. But it's another thing to bypass policies, to do as you want, simply because you want to appease a particular person, a group of people, or even your damn self. It's a job description. I keep hearing all these things from people about, well, he's the President of the United States and he can do this, that, and the other. Have you seen the job description for President of the United States? Have you looked it up? Do you know what it entails? And when I hear that kind of rhetoric, when I keep hearing people say, well, he has that kind of power, well, you have to really look at what that power entails. We keep being all up in the head about who's entering to office next, about the president-elect and what he's going to do, and how he's going to come down on this group, and he's going to come down on that group. You got a whole bunch of other folks who will say yay or nay to that. It's not just as simple as you raise your hand and say, this is what I'm doing, and that's the way it's going to go. It doesn't work that way, folks. See, this is where our being educated on things comes into play. Period. If you take a look at your own job description, wherever it is that you work, I want you to go in there and I want you to take 3 things off of that job description list. Right? Don't do them. And I want you to holler back at me and let me know. Did you get written up, a verbal warning, a written warning, suspension, or fire? Which one did you get? See, just because you have a person of color in there doesn't mean that that person becomes the voice of blacks in America. That's not how it goes, folks. You can disagree all day long, but it's a job. That's a job. And at the end of the day, when your term ends, you are no longer on that job. You're not. So if you get laid off, fired, promoted, you are no longer working within the realm, within the parameters of that description. You're doing something else now. Right? You're doing something else now. So now you have to work within the parameters of that position. Right? You no longer perform those other duties, because that's what they are. You have to make some tough decisions on things. right? But what decisions did he have that were tough, that came up through the ranks, from the bottom, came up through the ranks, and went across his desk? What bills were pushed? Can you tell me? Do you know? Do you have any idea? No, you don't. So to not hear about something that he should be doing, that you think he should be doing, well, where's that rational thinking? There's nothing rational about that thinking. And again, I'm no political guru. I'm just as fresh as the next person. I'm just as green as the new person. I didn't start developing piquing an interest in politics until 2007, 2008. That's when I began to look at those things. That's when I began to start looking at politics. And I mean, I've always been around politicians. You know, I've always, been working alongside of different politicians throughout the years of my career in the nonprofit sector, with my own organization, Daddy's Right Here. I've always had some kind of connect, right? You don't know a person's job description. I think sometimes we lose sight of the fact that these people in political office have job descriptions. And just like your employer holds you to fulfilling those tasks, all those things that are listed under your responsibilities. Like, I expect for you to adhere to those things. I expect for you to go back to your job description and adhere to those things. When I do supervision with staff, I'm going back to, excuse me, the job description. I'm looking at your job description. So when you start complaining and telling me, well, you can't do this, that, and that, I'm saying, well, wait a minute. I interviewed you. I hired you. I informed you of what responsibilities you have. You told me during the course of the interview that you were capable of doing these things. So now it's a question as to whether you can in fact do so. So then we have to develop some kind of plan on how I can help you, help yourself, get better and improve and fulfill those responsibilities. You can't do it on your own, so you're going to need some supervisory assistance to do that. Right? No different than with the President of the United States. The President of the United States has a supporting cast. He has people around him, or she has people around him that can give them information that can help them make a better decision, a more educated decision. That means educated not as far as academic studies, but as far as educated and tell me what this is. Tell me how this works. Tell me what it is that they do. Tell me how this will affect us if a decision is made, if a decision is not made. That's what their role is. That's what their role is. That's the person who makes decisions. The person doesn't jump in the office and all the biases that you heard them spewing out of their mouth during the course of the campaign. They don't just jump in the office and start dropping a hammer and telling me this is what I'm doing, that's what I'm doing. No, you're not. No, you're not. It doesn't work that way, sir. This is how we do things. Now, you can cause a ruckus if you like, but you really don't have the true power. We, the House, has the power. The Senate has the power. We have the power at this level. Right? We do. And we need to realize how much power we have. Because not only can we vote you into office, we can get you out of office too. There's something called impeaching, but that's a whole nother discussion when we'll talk about what that means to be impeached, right? But there's a whole lot of things that go on, right, that we don't understand. And anybody who knows more than I do in politics, enlighten me. But don't enlighten me based on what you think. Enlighten me based on what you know with fact. Give me the facts. If I'm wrong, I'll accept that I'm wrong. But I know that any job you have, I don't care what it is, you have a job description. Right? You don't just walk in the office with bright ideas. This is not the 1600s, it's not the 1700s, and you start walking and talking about this is what we gonna do, this how we gonna do this. It doesn't work that way. When you take oath, right, when you raise your right hand and you take oath, and you put your other hand on the book, you're taking an oath to serve the United States of America in the capacity that has been defined, clearly spelled out for you. Clearly spelled out for you. Before you started your run. It was already spelled out. This is the responsibilities that you have. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to see if I can't locate the job description. And I don't know if I'm going to find the actual one that they get. They might give me some bootleg version of it. But what I'm saying in essence is that you have to learn people's job descriptions in order for you to hold people accountable. Right? You have to understand that. So what I've done is I found this website. Let me open it. Let me open up the website. Hold up. Wait a minute. And I'm also downloading another video, right? So let me go here for a minute. Here's I went to this website. I got to tell you about this. It's really, really good. Playbuzz.com. That's PLAYBUZZ.com. And it's Can You Pass American Politics 101. Now I did much better than I thought I was going to do. I think I got give and take two wrong. I think I got 2 wrong. Let me see. Out of 15, no, I got 1, 2, 3. I got 4 wrong, and 2 unanswered. I don't know why they gave me that, but anywho. So here's the first question. Let me see how many of these that you know, or see how many you know. If you can put the answer down, that's great. Put your answer down. But I guess I'm not going to tell you the answer, but I'm going to ask you the question first, and we'll go through a bunch of them. So here's the first question. Number 1. The president is a part of the blank branch of government. The president is a part of the blank branch of government. And he's not part of the blank, but there's a blank there for those of you who are a little more challenged in that area of listening. So, judicial, federal, legislative, or executive. The president is a part of the blank branch of government. And your 4 responses are, your multiple choice, judicial, federal, legislative, or executive. Okay? Which one is the president a part of? Aha. Now, we'll get back to that. Number 2. The question is... Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I think it took away... Oh, when you ask the question, it goes away. Ah. Okay, next. So this, but again, that's playbuzz.com, and if you go there, it actually asks you, it has 16 questions that ask you on America's politics, right? And you want to go to that. Listen, it's real fun to do, but you also learn a lot in answering those questions. That's playbuzz.com, right? And see how many of those you can actually answer, right? Then there's another site, Quizlet, Quizlet.com. And if you go there, it's American Politics 101. It has flashcards. It has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different areas. It's a few areas of study. It's a few areas of play. Where you can actually like learn some things. It's great. Like, for instance, here's a question: who said democracy is the worst form of government except for all those other forms that haven't been tried. Winston Churchill. Politics. What is politics? Is asking the question, what is politics? And it defines politics as being the management of conflict over who shall rule and what policies shall be made. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a lot of information here. Judicial review, checks and balances, anti-federalist, federalist. You know, do you know what a federalist is? Federalists, supporters of a strong central government who advocated ratification of the Constitution. After ratification of the Constitution, they founded a political party supporting a strong executive and Alexander Hamilton's economic policies. That's, you know, you have a lot of information. You hear words all the time, right? And you don't always know what it is that they're talking about. Mandates, rules imposed by the federal government on the states as requirements that the states pay the costs of certain nationally defined programs. Yeah, mandates, rules imposed by the federal government on the states, and that the states pay the cost of certain nationally defined programs. So that means that each state has to make the contribution into these programs, these nationally defined programs, right? I'm just saying. So it's a lot of information here. Again, that's Quizlet.com. Listen, I'm giving you these websites for a reason. Go to these websites. There's so much that you can learn. I watch them and I look at them and I learn, because I want to learn about the inside and outs of politics. And I say the insides and outs because a lot of people are doing things that have them booted out of politics. A lot of people, you know, find themselves caught up in things that compromise the integrity of that position. Again, because it's a job. There's a job description that comes along with it. And stealing the money just ain't one of those things in the job description. Yeah, that's some old self-imposed rule that you put in there, you know, to keep yourself happy. That's not in there. There's nothing in there that says you steal the money, right? That's not, no. So again, you go to American Politics 101, you can find out a whole bunch of stuff. It's another site that I want to direct you to. Now this is one of my favorite sites, votesmart.org. 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 Excuse me. Now what happens is this site allows you to type in the politician's name. Excuse me. So let's put in let me see, Nutter. Michael Nutter, right? Now you type in the name in the search area, and what it does for you, it searches for that person. Oops, I spelled his name wrong. You can't find something that is spelled incorrect. So let me try that again. And what it does is this is so cool. I love it. Let me see what we got going here. Hold on, give me a minute here. Alright, so now let's go. Let's see if we can't find. So you get his name in there, and what it does is it searches out the name. It's a little slow right now. I don't know why. Because I looked at one. I typed up Vincent Hughes earlier. All right, here we go. So you got Got Vincent Hughes here. So now what it does is you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have 6 folders, right? So once that person's name comes up through the search, you have 6 folders, and you can click on each folder. And the first folder you get to is bio, right? So it has Vincent Hughes's biography. Now, if you don't know, Vincent Hughes is a state senator, right? One of my favorites is, I like to also say, in terms of the work that he does, but not only he does, him and his wife are actively involved in, excuse me folks, I'm sorry, they're actively involved in a lot of things. If you don't know who his wife is Shirley Ralph. So you can see how old he is, you can see his full name, you can see his family's members' names, you can see the religion that he practices, you can click on education, he went to Temple University, you can look at his political experience, Senator, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Senate District 7 from 1994 to present. Mr. Hughes has been a senator since 1994, right? That's a long stretch. That's a long stretch. He was the Deputy Minority Whip, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, State Senate, 2005 to 2006. State Representative, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, House of Representatives, 1987 to 1994. That's a long career. That's a long career, right? It also lists current legislative committees. So it's got a list of he's the Appropriations Chair, Intergovernmental Operations Member, Rules and Executive Nominations Member, right? It has the caucuses and non-legislative committees, and there's a whole list. He's a former board member of Community Services Advisory Board, if you know anything about Community Services of Pennsylvania. Member, Minority Business Development Agency, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Former member, Advisory Board of Philadelphia. The Secretary, Minority Caucus, 2007 to present. He's still the Secretary from 2007 to present. Board member, Higher Education Assistance Agency Board, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, present. Member, Legislative Black Caucus, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, present. Chair, Minority Caucus, 2009-2010. Chair, Legislative Black Caucus, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, 1991-1994. So he's been actively involved with the Legislative Black Caucus for a long time, right? His professional experience, it says no professional experience on file. Religious, civic, and other memberships. Co-founder, Children First, Incorporated, present. Member, Council of Trustees, Cheney University, present. Member, Free and Accepted Masons, Prince Hall, Grand Lodge, present. Member, Mount Carmel Baptist Church, present. Former leader, 44th Ward, Democratic Party, Philadelphia County. And it goes so, and then it has some additional information, right? Now, that's just under the tab of bio. But then when you go to the tab votes, when you click on that, that gives you a whole picture on what he voted yay or nay for. And there's a whole list. So the last thing, according to this site, and I don't know how updated it is, right? Date July 13th, 2015. SB 683, Senate Bill 683. Bill title requires DNA sample from individuals arrested for certain crimes. Outcome, the bill was passed in the Senate 33 to 14. His vote, nay. Right? June 30th, 2015, House Bill 1192, Appropriates Funds for the State Budget. Bill passed 30 to 19 in the Senate. His vote, nay. Let me scroll down a bit because there's a whole bunch of stuff there. Let me go to requires healthcare exchange navigator certification. That's a Senate Bill 293. That's February 23rd, 2015. That bill was passed in the Senate 30-19. His vote, nay. House Bill 1750, October 15, 2014, prohibits pigeon shoots. Bill passed in the Senate 36-12. His vote, yay. We want to go a little further down because there's some other stuff in there that's going to be important today. September 24th, 2014, Senate Bill 1182 authorizes medical marijuana. The bill was passed in the Senate 43-7. Senator Hughes' vote on that was a yay. So this was in September of 2014 to authorize medical marijuana. It passed. The bill passed in the Senate. Now what you have to look at is, okay, so when it passes in the Senate, what does that mean? Where does it go from there? Because this is September of 2014. We're almost 2017, right? So it's already been 2 years, and we're talking about the state of Pennsylvania, and we're talking about authorizing medical marijuana, right? So you want to go back and you want to look at that. And again, I'm on votesmart.org. I want you to go to that site, and I want you to look at that site, and I want you to, this is just for Vincent Hughes. This is just for Vincent Hughes, Senator Hughes. You want to look at July 8th, 2014, House Bill 1177, authorizes cigarette and hotel taxes. The outcome, concurrence vote passed in the Senate, 43-5. Senator Hughes' vote on that was a yay. July 3rd, 2013, amends Public Welfare Code. Concurrence vote passed in the Senate, 27-22. Senator Hughes voted nay on that particular one. Here's one that's important. October 17th, 2012, House Bill 815 reduces the offense of sexting for minors. The bill was passed to reduce the offense of sexting for minors. The bill passed in the Senate 37-12. Senator Hughes voted a yay. So you go on and on. Expands the use of red light cameras. This was June 29, 2012. This was House Bill 254. It was passed in the Senate 34-15. Senator Hughes voted a yay to that. And the list goes on and on and on. I mean, it just goes on. There's even another page on this. He actually voted yay on legalizing table games, right? January 5th, 2010. This was Senate Bill 711. Conference report adopted. The Senate 28-22 was adopted. December 16th of 2009. Senate Bill 711 legalizing table games concurrence. The vote passed in the Senate 27-22. That was a very close vote when you looked at legalizing table games. But Senator Hughes voted yay on both of them, right? And we saw the emergence of the Sugar House Casino in the state of Pennsylvania, right? And they're still in the process of setting up shop in other areas. The mall is still a proposed site. The gallery mall is still a proposed site for casinos. That just is something that between Chinatown and the city of Philadelphia, there's a battle there, because Chinatown wants their paper. Well, Chinatown will get cut out. We know what's happening in Chinatown. I won't put them on blast, but it's a whole lot of underground gambling that goes on. A lot of money is going to be cut into, so somebody's going to have to pay the cost to be the boss. I don't know how that's going to go down in Philadelphia, but right now it's not a whole lot that's happening in the news with the mob running it, because a city can't run that. Though if you don't think that it's mob running, there's some organized stuff going on to keep casinos in that condition, then you're sadly mistaken. No state has the capacity, no federal government has the capacity to operate successfully any casino. It takes more than what they have. They don't have the capacity to do that. Right? So, whoever, it ain't being run by the government. All right. Then you have on the same site, tab number 3 is positions. And now you probably say, well, why is this so important? It's important because you need to know. You need to know who's in office, what they're doing in office, why they're in office. Now I'm at the site Political Courage Test. This is Vincent Hughes has refused to provide voters with the positions on key issues covered by the 2016 Political Courage Test, despite repeated requests. Historically, candidates have failed to complete our tests due to the advice they received from their parties and advisors and out of fear of negative attack ads. Vincent Hughes is still welcome to submit the test at any time. Well, let me tell you what this testing entails, because it says here, what is the Political Courage Test? Pennsylvania State Legislative Election 2004 National Political Awareness Test. This candidate has responded to a political courage test in a previous election as a continued effort to provide the American public with factual information on candidates running for public office. These archived responses are made available here, right? So, the Political Courage Test asks candidates which items they will support if elected. It does not ask them to indicate which items they oppose. Through extensive research of public polling data, we discovered that voters are more concerned with what candidates would support when elected to office, not what they oppose. If a candidate does not select a response to any part or all of any question, it does not necessarily indicate that the candidate is opposed to that particular item. So, on abortion issues, indicate which principles you support. Here it's indicated on this site that he checked off abortion should always be legal. It was actually like a multiple choice test, and it said here abortion should always be legal is A. B, abortion should always be, A is abortion should always be illegal. B is abortion should always be legal. C, abortion should be legal only within the first trimester of pregnancy. D, abortion should be legal when the pregnancy resulted from incest or rape. E, abortion should be legal when the life of the woman is endangered. F, prohibit public funding of abortions and of organizations that advocate or perform abortions. And G, other or expanded principles. So the principle that he supports is abortion should always be legal. So he didn't get into a dialogue about if it's this, if it's that, if it's this, if it's that. The position that he took very clearly was that abortion should always be legal. And if you go to the next, if you go back a tab to votes, you'll see what he voted for, when he voted for, the position that he took on those different things. And even when you go to the next one, ratings kind of breaks it all down for you as well, because I'm waiting for it to come up. So it tells you Vincent Hughes' ratings and endorsements, right? So one of the things that it talks about on there, and I'm still speaking to the abortion, is 2016 Planned Parenthood Pennsylvania advocates, right? Vincent Hughes was one of the Planned Parenthood of Pennsylvania advocates. He advocated for that to be. And then there was also Dwight Evans, who had 100%. Patrick Harkins had a 50% rating in terms of Planned Parenthood. Florindo Fabrizio, 100%. And it's a whole list of names. You can pretty much tell you where they're at in terms of advocating for that particular issue, and Planned Parenthood was one. There are even speeches. There's a folder for speeches that you can click on, And that's not coming up right this minute. It's moving. And so at the same time, while I'm online doing a number of things. I'm also uploading part 2 to the video of the show of the Wise View, Snap, Crackle, and then Flop, the id part 2. I'm actually uploading that now, so that's at about 47%. So that show, Spot, I'm sorry, aired yesterday. That episode aired yesterday. Again, the show that typically comes on Sundays from 9 to 11 aired yesterday from 9 to 11, and that's on the id, according to Sigmund Freud. So we were doing the id, the ego, and the superego. So yesterday's show was on the id. So again, that website I want to direct you to again. Everything you want to know about the person who is in office, right? When you're trying to make a conscious decision, an educated decision about whether or not you're going to put that person back in office again, or start looking at new candidates. Who else would better serve the needs of that community? Because you want to start looking at people's track records. You keep looking at the same person over and over again who sits in office, who still does nothing. The same thing they've been doing in previous years. Your community hasn't gotten any better, right? There have been no changes in the community as a whole. You still see houses being torn down. You don't see anything being placed back up in those lots. You still see recreation centers closed. You still getting paint and trees for your community. They're giving you paint to paint your address on the sidewalk, or to paint the sidewalk, you know, with white paint, or they're giving you some trees to plant, you know, in front of your house that you're responsible for when they start wrapping around your water pipes and all kind of other pipes in your house, and you're responsible for it. But that's all we keep getting. You keep settling for paint and trees. The crumbs. Crumbs, man. I want you to take a look at when you look at these politicians' records, when you look at their bios, their votes, positions, their ratings, speeches, funding, all those things. I want you to look at all those things, and I want you to look at your community. And I want you to tell me what bills are they responsible for, advocating for certain things to change. Where do they stand on those things? And many want to know where they stand on it in terms of what they're for. I want to know what you oppose as well. I want to know what you oppose as well. Because if I only know that you're for, and I don't know what you oppose may be of great significance to the betterment of the community. So I want to know both. But you want to go to this site, votesmart.org, and it'll tell you anything you want to know. It says 40,000 politicians, millions of facts. They have done some background checking. How accurate it is, I'm not really sure. I couldn't tell you how accurate it is. I can't tell you how inaccurate it is. I can tell you that there's information there that you can learn about that person. If you have questions of that person, you can ask that person, is it accurate? Ask them, is it accurate? Do some background check on votesmart.org and see where they gather their information from. I mean, it's obvious, it's public knowledge. It's not like you need a password. You got to have some kind of membership fee to get this information. So apparently this is probably a non-profit organization, you know, that has obtained funding to be able to provide information to citizens at no cost, so citizens can be better informed of their rights. Their rights. You have the right to know this information. You have the right to challenge these politicians on this information. You have that right. It has offices and officials, legislation, interest groups, public statements, committees, leadership, vetoes. It tells you everything right here on this site that you need to know to make a conscious, educated decision on whether somebody needs to remain in office. So now that we've gotten past some of the recent the people, new people are in office. That's what I'm trying to say. You know, with the presidential election came along, I think we elected some judges and we filled some other seats. We filled the abandoned seat of a few people. Some people, a couple of people retired. A couple of people got arrested and incarcerated. So we had some seats. We lost a lot of seats. I think it was like over 121 seats that the Democrats lost in office. And I say we because I'm a Democrat, but you know, I'm leaning more and more towards. It used to be a split ticket because it was primarily two parties. Now it's really a divided ticket. No pun intended, but it has to be. It has to be. It has to be because the reality of it is there are Democrats who ain't worth a damn. There are Republicans who ain't worth a damn. And now we got the Green Party that is on the rise. So you're going to have another party that's going to be the center of attention. Right? We had the Tea Party. I don't know what happened to the Tea Party. I don't know if the water got cold. I don't know if the water wasn't hot enough for the tea to come to fruition. I don't know what happened, but I hear more about this Green Party. And again, that's one more thing we need to learn about. Who's in this? What candidates are comprise the Green Party? Who's the Green Party? Do you know? Did you even know that there was another party? I think what Jill Stein, is that what her name is? I think that is responsible for this whole recount and looking at. Listen, it was a story that Michael Coward, the attorney in Philadelphia, who brought to light some things about the Green Party and the need to get an X amount of votes in order to establish credibility within this two-party system that we need to change. We need to move away from this two-party system. We need to change that. This two-party system doesn't work. Right? We need other parties to be involved in this. We need to expand our horizons. We need to diversify our portfolio. Right? But then you also need to know who is representing these parties. Who do these parties represent? Are candidates jumping ship from the two parties and going into this party? Is there really a benefit to a third party? It's another question to answer. If it's the same people just jumping ship and going under guise of a new party but still have the same thinking that they did when they were in the other parties, how's that working for us?